Can you hire a private teacher to homeschool your child? I'm Nicholeen Peck. I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principles self-government. And in this video, we're talking about homeschool and bringing somebody else into the mix. In this video, we're going to talk about homeschool and what people hope to accomplish with that, but we're also going to be talking about how to hire, if you choose to hire, a private teacher to help your child with a specific subject. I have 4 children of my own, and I am a grandma of homeschooled children as well. So I homeschooled my 4 children, and my children are now homeschooling my grandchildren. I also was a therapeutic treatment care parent for troubled teens for a lot of years, and so I've had a lot of experience with different educational models. And I loved homeschool, one of the best choices that I ever made. Did we ever have anybody help us with our homeschooling? Yes, we did. So there was a time when my oldest son was 8 years old when he said that he wanted to learn Japanese. Well, my dad happened to be a Japanese professor, and he had just retired from teaching Japanese in the public school. So I asked him if he would come over and if he would teach my son and daughter Japanese 1 time a week. And he said yes, he would. And guess what? I didn't have to pay him a thing because he was just a loving grandpa who loved the idea of teaching his grandchildren something. And this grandpa has spent many years spreading some of his educational knowledge to his grandchildren who were homeschooled at the time. And I think he even kind of homeschools some of the grandchildren that are not homeschooled. Can you bring in a private teacher to homeschool your child? The answer is yes. In fact, the whole idea of homeschool is that the parent is taking the primary leadership and responsibility over all of that education, which for most states is part of their parental rights in their state constitution or in their state code anyway. I know in my state it says in our state law that parents have the primary responsibility over the education of their children. So that means that they can say, okay, now I am just doing it. We're not doing with the public school or a private school or a charter or whatever. Instead, I'm going to do it myself. I could tailor fit this teacher, this teacher, this teacher for my child and end up having all the other people's teaching all the other subjects, but I'm still technically considered the homeschooler because I am the administrator for that particular model that I've created for my family. So yes, you can, but what do you want to look at for bringing another teacher into that homeschool environment? For many years I did homeschool. I'm trying to think how many years it was. 28 years I did homeschool actually for my children. That was huge to have that many years of homeschooling. So we had many people teach different sports, cooking classes, different music things, those types of things. And we had cooperative groups that we would get together with as well. And I was always picky about who got to teach my child, because I wasn't going to go through all that work of removing them from a public school where I pretty much get no choice whatsoever of the type of person that teaches my child and then just turn them over to who knows whatever. For me, it wasn't just about academics. It was about the character development of the person. It was about what type of an adult they were going to become because of the mentors that they had in their lives. So before I would sign them up for a class, whether it was at a co-op or with a music teacher or a sporting establishment or anything like that, I would examine what type of person is going to be teaching my child, and I would try to get to know them, and I would make sure that they had some key things in place. Number one, that they recognized that the parent was the one one in charge. They weren't going to be the one in charge. They needed to do whatever I wanted them to do. That was important because oftentimes you bring another teacher into the mix, they want to tell you what to do, and now suddenly they've just taken over your homeschool. So that was number one. Number two was I needed to be sure that I could trust that their understanding of what was right and wrong, good and bad, and true and false matched my understanding of what was right and wrong, good and bad, true and false. So that didn't mean that we had to necessarily be the same religion, although oftentimes that is helpful. Although sometimes even when you have the same religion, you might have one person who thinks it's okay for children to just be on devices and cell phones all day and another one who doesn't. So that's not always going to be, a sure fit. But usually it's helpful to find somebody who has the same spiritual or foundational beliefs as you, although sometimes there could be people of other faiths who match you in pretty much every way. So keep that in mind. When you are having an interview or you're getting to know that person that might teach the children, you're also going to want to ask what they use for the curriculum. What is their background? What are some of their foundational beliefs or principles about that subject matter? What might they be teaching? What does the syllabus look like? What are some of the books they're going to have them read? I would just ask all of those things before you get into an arrangement. Sometimes people get desperate in their homeschooling because their child is struggling with a particular subject matter, and so they'll just go to anyone for help, but just going to anyone is going to be bringing in who knows what, and it might not solve your problem. It could even end up making the problem worse. So be very picky. I have multiple videos on this channel about homeschool, how I homeschooled my family, because like I said, it was one of those best decisions I ever made. While you're here on the channel, type in homeschool, see if there's any of those other videos that could help you, and I'll tell you what, one of the not so known secrets for homeschool success is in a video I have called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. So please click on a link to that video next.